In studio, Coach Judd Lutz joining us on the program. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I know you got a busy morning, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I want to talk some football. I mean, we've been talking baseball for a while now, and everybody's got baseball fever right now. Now, you as a head coach, you're getting into your offseason program right now. Just the beginning stages of it. You've got a little bit of a, I'd say a downtime before you really get ramped up as you get into the later part of summer, but this is still time where you can get things done as a coach. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And we take a lot of pride in preparation, all off season. There's really no technically off season. There's just in-game season and then non-game season. But, there's rules and regulations we need to abide by, certain things we can't do. So we try to be as organized as possible and get as much done and obviously, get as much work done as well while also keeping them happy, healthy, and coming back. So we're definitely getting knee-deep in it right now, and the guys are working really hard.
Yeah, well, I've talked with, now it's been all three Tiffin Columbian head coaches for the three sports that we cover, basketball, baseball, and now football. And, I talked with Coach Kinn a little bit about the challenges of the offseason and dealing with some of these multi-sport athletes and their schedules. And, I mean, you talk about right now, you've got some athletes that are playing baseball that I'm sure you'd like to get them a little bit acclimated with the playbook. But these guys spend a lot of time not just on the sport that they're in, but on themselves personally in other sports. Talk about some of these athletes and how much time that they're dedicating to the game of football while they're still playing another sport.
Yeah, I'm really blessed, to work with the, other head coaches that we have and the players that we have and the families that we have, because we do have a lot of really successful multi-sport guys and girls. Yeah. And, no coach wants to lose them because of another sport or commitments and what they're being asked. And by the same note, I want all of our sports to be successful. I was a multi-sport guy in high school and college, so I know what that commitment is. And so, Coach Kinn and I, we sit down months in advance mapping out our summers together so that our kids don't have to choose one or the other. Hey, I know a lot of places don't do that. It's literally the basketball coach is independent of the football coach, and they collide, and kids have to kind of choose who they're going to please what days and what weeks, and that's not fair. Yeah. And so we coordinate really well to try to have them not have to choose. And then I have a ton of respect for the other coaches also with their preparation. As a football coach, I want our guys in the weight room getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster, developing their bodies. And we have tremendous buy-in by those other coaches as well within their sport. They believe in the weight room. They know to be the best baseball player, best basketball player, you also have to get bigger, stronger, and become a better athlete. And so they're in the weight room consistently in season as well. And so I know our guys aren't taking a big back step while they're competing, and going weeks on end without getting into the weight room and stuff. Our kids are getting it done because those coaches believe in it and have made it important. So, yes, I would, love to have them back. At the same point, I don't want them to lose. So I would love if our baseball team wins a state championship, goes clear to the whole ship and wins it all. And it's a couple more weeks till I see them, because you only get one shot at this thing.
Yeah.
So if that means we got to wait a couple weeks to have them in person, fantastic. I'll gladly take that, because when you're competing and in a sport, that's hard to beat any preparation or practice for your next sport. So
for sure,
they're maximizing it, and I got no doubt that all those guys that we have coming out of track season, and we got coming out of baseball season, will be ready to go when it's game time.
So you're a football guy, obviously, but do you spend any time on the baseball? On the baseball side of things, like obviously not as a coach or anything, but when you're watching, when you're out and about, do you switch on the game possibly and just see what's going on? Are you following this team as they go along?
Absolutely.
And how are you following? Heart of Ohio Sports, maybe? Is that your main?
Absolutely.
All right, that's what I like to hear.
Absolutely. Back in the day, it was like Twitter updates or, tuning in on the radio. Now you can actually tune in and see the game. There's nothing better.
On your phone.
On your phone.
Wherever you're at. That's the beauty of it.
And my wife, my wife is a huge baseball fan. She's a longtime softball player, softball coach, and only took a backseat to coaching softball when, I kept knocking her up and making her pregnant. So at some point, the kids will get a little bit older. She's going to get it back into it. I got no doubt about it. And so she's been a baseball, softball chick from day one. So we follow very closely, those sports. And then, my first love when I was in high school was basketball. I wanted nothing more to do than play college basketball when I was in middle school and early high school. And so I've always followed basketball really closely. So like I said, and I was a track guy in college too, track and football. So I follow all of our athletes, not just from I care about them and I care about our football guys and the other sports they're in, but I honestly just also like those sports too.
That's cool.
So it's pretty cool to see our guys and girls compete on the field and get after it. So
that's cool. So I know a lot of people in this community know you as football coach Judd Lutz. What do you like to do in your off time? Like, what's some of the things that you like to do? What do you enjoy doing as hey, I've got some free time, if that even exists in your life.
Yeah.
And it's, I want to spend some time doing something that I enjoy. Obviously there's family time, there's kids time and all that, but what do you like to do?
Yeah. We're not real interesting and dynamic as a family. We got four young kids and then 2 older kids that we welcomed into our home when they were in high school. And so the 6 of them, along with us, obviously keep us pretty busy. I have family live nearby over in Bloomville and stuff, so going out and hanging out, doing stuff at those houses and with my immediate family consumes a lot of time. And then, honestly, my closest friends are my football coaches and hanging out with those guys. And again, some are formal coaches meetings, some are informal coaches meetings.
That's what I
and and doing those things. And as far as hobbies and things that, we also keep, I like staying busy. I honestly just like working. So if it's not football related or, related to my job as the dean of students at the middle school, administratively, it's probably in one of those buckets of family, faith, try to stay active in our church. And then getting into the real estate thing too. Actually, my wife has really kind of dove into that with flipping some houses and managing some properties and rental properties.
That's actually where I was going with this. I've seen some of your posts and some of the things that you guys are doing outside of football. That's something that interests me a little bit because I'm a house hunter. I'm looking for a house right now, and it's a tough market right now. But I'm not going to get into that at all. But I just wanted to kind of touch on some of the things that you do outside of football because I think you got a pretty interesting life, and I think a lot of people just don't know about it because they just know you as the football coach.
Yeah, I've kind of delved into it from the math brand. I was a math major in college, and so understanding numbers a little bit. And, I don't make a ton as a football coach. I won't go into details on those pay stubs exactly, but, I want to still leave a legacy and, be financially free and be able to provide for our family while my wife, works from home or, doesn't really have a W-2 job whatsoever. But there's still demands with 4 kids and, inflation going up. So, need to find a way to provide. And so, it's just kind of one avenue we've dove into as a family that all taken kind of, our bite out of and learning as we go.
That's cool.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you a question real quick. We're talking about you letting your hair down and cutting loose.
Yeah.
I know it was your birthday a couple days ago. What'd you do to celebrate that?
There we go.
It was pretty quiet. Didn't
belated birthday, by the way.
Appreciate it. My wife got me a good surprise. We're suckers for that pedal bike, Danny Perry and the Tiffin pedal bike and his company, and
such a good time.
Great time on there. And
free advertising. You're welcome.
You're welcome, Dan.
You're welcome, Danny.
So we had a good time, Greg. We had a good time on the pedal bike that night with a bunch of friends, a lot of my coaches, like I said, and we didn't get in any trouble whatsoever, so it was a good night all in all.
Yeah, they would have let it slide anyways. You know, just some boys having some fun, just some guys having some fun.
Oh, yeah.
So, Joey, I'm going to turn it over to you because, you spend a lot of time with Coach because you're an assistant with him. So, I'll give you the floor here.
Yeah, so I think about during the fall, I'm with, the players, and I think we both are, with the players and the coaches more than our families, it seems like sometimes. And it's crazy. But a little background on you. So you went from Columbian to Mount Union, then you went to Avon, right to the head coach at Columbian. What were some of the, and it's a question for me and other people, what were some of the first early things you had to learn as being a young head coach?
Urban Meyer talks about it, and a number of guys talk about it. When you make that jump from assistant to head coach, you go from making suggestions to decisions. Mm-hmm. When you're an assistant coach, you got ideas, you got things you would like to do, and things you are already doing, and you kind of have a vision of doing. If you ever get into that, get into that seat, and so it's different in the beginning. You go from used to just make suggestions, but then you're ultimately kind of giving it to the guy or your leader, and they're making the decision, and now you're in that seat. So. that was just a different, kind of thing. But at the same point, for 6 years previous, I envisioned doing that. And so for a long time, mapped out what I would want a program to look like and what I would like it to achieve and taste like, smell like, and all those things. And so it was exciting to obviously get into that seat.
Yeah.
And we didn't reap a whole lot of benefits initially, and it took time. And so, I think we're on the other end of it, and obviously experienced some success on the field and also off the field. But obviously we've got a long way to go still too to keep it going.
Yeah, and I know those first 2 years were a struggle. And you come from Columbian, who is a power.
Yeah.
Mount Union, who is a national power. Avon, who's a power. Then your first 2 years at Columbian were kind of rough. What was that like? Because obviously, you've won and lost games, but those first 2 years were really rough. Were there any things that really stuck out and you had to learn really quickly? Okay, this is kind of where we need to be and fix some things.
For sure. The biggest thing was I was really blessed to experience it as a player, in high school and see it done here. And then collegiately, in a different aspect and, different way of doing things, but also really, really successful. And then as an assistant coach at Avon High School, where we were really good, but it was still in the building blocks in the beginning when I was getting there. And then obviously was really, really good when I left and still really, really good, built to last. And so when I came here and we didn't have success on the field initially, I was still confident in what we were doing because I knew the process was the right way of going about it. And we were always tweaking and always changing, and we'll still always be tweaking and changing. But I was confident in giving enough time, it's coming. Success is coming. Now, it was humbling and also probably scary at the same point of knowing I don't have forever to figure this thing out. So 2 years of, again, not a ton of on-field wins, and we were doing a lot of great things, but again, just not reaping the benefits of at some point, it's got to turn, or else I'm going to be out of a job. So
exactly.
So again, and it's a great story. I hope that it's going to be a great story looking back at and talking about. And I've studied a lot of great programs, and one thing that lasted with me, Mike Krajewski when he was at Duke, they were terrible in the beginning, terrible. And I'm not sure the exact record, but they're sitting around as coaches after that first year, second year that they were so bad, and the one coach raises his glass, toasting, thank God this is over. Let's forget this one. And Mike Krajewski stops and he's like, no, I'm raising a glass to never forgetting this. That's right. Don't ever forget.
That's right.
How tough this is right now. And that's when we win our first game every year, whether that's week 1, 2, whatever, the guys who were in, and I got a lot of those guys who were in year 1, year 2 of we won. We just got one. That's more than we had one season. Year 2, we went 0-10. Yeah. And so we still celebrate the little ones because we know it ain't easy and it keeps you hungry. So, here's to never forgetting the beginning.
Oh, yeah. And aside from that, how does your wife do it during football season? Because you got school.
You talk about a hero right there.
Yeah. It's crazy. You got school in the morning from 8 to 2:30. We're at practice from 3 to 5. We're usually there till 6. Waiting on kids, talking about the next day or game plan or something like that. But then it doesn't stop there. We got to go home and watch film, game plan still. How does she, first of all, shout out to Amy, but how does she do that? That's crazy.
It's, again, I'm blessed to have a coach's wife. She gets it from, she is a varsity coach, travel ball coach. She did it for a number of years, so she understands, to do it really well, what it takes. And usually that means time, and quality time. And so she gets a lot of it, but at the same point, she is in it just as much as I am.
It's
and
crazy.
We are, because that's the only way it will work. She can't resent what I do and how we do things by being completely separate. And some people do that, but for us, she's bringing the kids down during two-a-days. She's bringing kids
every day
down
during the season. She's
during the
kids
season.
There.
They love being on the field. They love the football field. They love the gold helmets. They love Fridays. It's football Fridays.
Yeah,
even in the off season, they don't really understand. Every Friday's not a football Friday. In the dead of winter, speed camp Saturdays. So every Saturday's, we're going to speed camp. No, not necessarily. But, right. So they're in it just as much as I'm in it. And again, that was kind of my vision, her vision for if we're going to do it and we're going to do it right and do it for a really long time,
Yeah.
you know, that's the goal, is to do it a really long time. That's how it's got to be built. So
I was going to say one thing that I noticed is she's definitely your biggest fan.
Oh,
because every time I've come down for an interview, man, she's right there attached to your hip, right there before I can even get to you.
That's right. She beats Greggy to the interview every time.
Every time. Yeah, she, again, you got to have that person or persons for sure. She's my person. There's no doubt about it. And she believes in us and believes in me and what we do. Because, again, it's more than just football. Like, it's more than the wins. It's more than, you know, the on-field successes, which is great. And it's a great byproduct of all the work. But, like, she knows the mission of our program and building great men and great people first and foremost. And that's what she loves, because she's you know, she's Jesus follower, and just like I am, and understands there's a bigger, and that's our bigger, and this is our mission field. And again, I can count 100 stories and really cool things that she's done for me when she had no reason to whatsoever. Like buying, she bought me a championship case for a championship football, like 3 weeks after our 0-10 season, year 2. Like, she bought me an empty case and a big long note, like, this is where you're going to put your championship football. And I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like,
man,
babe, I love you, but like, we didn't win any games this year. And then next year, next year, she bought me a beautiful, like, championship, SBC championship football for that case, because we won it the next year. Like, but again, she saw it and believed in me, like, when she had no reason to, or anybody else had no reason to, and even I had doubts, you know. So again, one of 1,000 stories.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It's crazy, dude. Most of the coaches will wake up, like, there's a couple weeks out of the season, I'm sure, if you know the Columbian football program, there are a couple SBC games, you'll wake up to a text from Amy Lutz that is just at 7 o'clock in the morning, that is paragraphs long, just her fired up. It's like, you get goosebumps, you're just like pacing around, you're like, let's go.
That's a football mom right there.
Sure.
Man. That's
then you
awesome.
realize you got 12 hours to kick off, so you're like, this is great.
Love it. All right, Coach, so you got some stuff coming up that you want to promote, right? Golf outing possibly on the horizon here?
Yeah, a couple weeks here. First thing, try and go through our summer schedule here. We got a bunch of cool things. And again, this is, it's more than football, but a lot of the stuff does relate to football. But, we got our youth camp coming up next week for all the youth in town. The cool thing that we do, we have 4 days of football camp. We go from 9 to 10:30, but on Monday, Tuesday, from 10 to 11:30 is a baseball youth camp. And then on Wednesday, Thursday is basketball youth camp right after. Again, we're not making kids, choose. We're trying to make it easy on families and stuff to, again, get the youth involved from, an early age, get them familiar with the coaches and players. And so we got to get through youth camp week, which is always a big week for us as coaches and players and stuff. And it's busy, kind of herding cats sometimes, you feel like.
Oh, yeah.
But, soon after that, then we're actually taking the team to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and Stadium. And
That's so cool.
Our Gridiron Foundation is funding that entirely for our players, and we're really encouraging our dads to go, because we have a moms event later in the summer we do with our players and moms. So we kind of are trying to do this event for our players and dads. And so a great opportunity to go to the Hall of Fame Stadium, kind of tour the locker rooms and the press box area, and then also be able to tour and be inside the Hall of Fame for, a great portion of the day as long as we want, and head home. So a really cool event that we got going here in a couple weeks. And then soon after that, just a couple weeks later, is our golf outing, which is our big fundraiser for our team, for our kids, be able, to supply different things that we need throughout the season and for our program. And it's been we've done this now 3 years, I think, and almost pack, 36 teams every year, and great sponsorship and great.
Is there any openings available still?
Still openings.
So there you go, folks.
Still a handful of openings. You want to get in soon, because they're filling up quick here the last couple weeks. But it's a great thing for our kids. And again, every dollar of those things goes right back to the kids in some way, shape, or form in the program. And then, after that, we got a couple other key things throughout the summer. Like I said, our moms event that we do, kind of trivia-based or something for our moms and our kids. And then a couple other sporadic things. I'm sure I'm forgetting about, Joey, but It's a busy summer.
It's crazy.
Busy summer. And then I got a couple
lot
coaches
going on.
deciding to get married this summer.
Back-to-back
Idiots.
weekends.
Back-to-back weekends. Yeah.
At least they didn't pick the same weekend.
No.
There's some coordination going on there. You know?
Yeah. I got three coaches, assistant coaches in some capacity getting married this summer.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Busy
Yeah,
summer.
Former one. Yeah.
That's
So it's
Ohio,
good.
though. Everybody packs everything into
Oh,
like a 12-week period.
Good times.
All right, Coach. Any other things you want to talk about this morning? I don't want to keep you too long. You got some stuff you got to get
No,
done.
man,
so.
I'm just excited for your brand, obviously, and the work I've seen so far, and obviously to be able to, sometimes it's hard to find a babysitter for like 4 kids, ages 6 and under, and be able to get to a baseball game, basketball game during a weekday or something like that. So be able to tune in from our home and watch stuff like that with our kids, it's pretty awesome at the high school level. So thank you, man, for getting this going.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Always appreciate the kind words and the support from the community. But honestly, we're excited. Baseball has been a blast, but it's allowed us to work out some of the kinks in this thing so we can get ready for football. And I'm telling you what, Coach, this is going to be a fun season.
Yeah, kids are working hard.
We're really excited.
Kids are working hard. Schedule's
Absolutely.
going to be great, really competitive. Outside of obviously our conference, and when you get into the conference, there's nothing easy. So it's great.
Nothing's given. Everything's earned. That's Ohio. All right, thanks, Coach. I appreciate you coming on. Once again, Tiffin Columbian head football coach Judd Lutz joining us on the program. We'll step aside, take a timeout real quick, but we'll be right back here on Mullin It Over here on Heart of Ohio Sports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back here on Mullin It Over. This is episode, 48 now, right? I think so. June 1st. That's right. We're into June now. Thanks to Coach Lutz for coming on with us. Tiffin Columbian head football coach Judd Lutz, once again joining us here on the morning show. Huge interview, and he's such a great guy, man.
Awesome.
I love being able to sit under the learning tree with all the area coaches. But Judd, I mean, it just seems like sometimes he just gives a little bit more of himself, and these interviews just go a little bit easier with him because I don't really have to dig too much. He's really cool about answering questions and being open and honest, and he gives you the answers you're looking for.
He's a relaxed kind of dude, just like us.
Yes, that's what I like. So once again, thanks for Coach Lutz for coming on and telling us a little bit about his off-season stuff, because that's something that I think a lot of fans don't really know what's going on with football this time of year. Joey, you're pretty involved.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, the off-season's crazy because we got football 4 days a week, and it's different as coaches. Like, there's really no off-season for us because, like, right now in the summer, we have our 4 days, but we're still also, like, game planning. Like, we're pre-game planning for games and stuff like that, looking at, how we do things, looking at personnel, how are our kids different, stuff like that. And then, obviously, if we go later back in the year, January, February, March, April, I mean, we're traveling to clinics to learn stuff. I mean, it's constant. It's literally year-round. And then when you get into the actual season, I mean, we're with each other 7 days a week. It's insane.
Job never stops.
It's insane.
Literally.
And it's the things people don't see that we're doing. We're there till 7, 8 o'clock at night sometimes. And that's on like a Monday night.
Yeah.
And the game's on Friday.
Yep.
But we're still, it's mayhem. And we're there on Saturdays. We got JV freshman games. Sunday, we have our game plan meeting, so we're prepared for Monday. It's craziness. So.
Yeah. I mean, and I was a youth football coach for 4 years, and I was the head coach. And one thing I didn't get a chance to talk with Coach about at all was, he transitioned from an assistant to a head coach. I was literally thrown into the fire when I showed up to bring my kid to the draft to get drafted.
Yeah.
They made me a head coach that day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I literally was thrown right into the fire. Never had a chance to be an assistant. Didn't learn under anybody. They were just like, hey, you seem like a head coach. Here you go. Be a head coach.
Yeah.
They gave me the job. And it was the Eagles. Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, that's one of the most successful programs in this area. And they were just like, here you go. Here's the keys.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was nerve-wracking at first. And then the more you get into it, the more you learn, like, if you want it done the way you want it done, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Oh, and it never stops either.
It never ends. And even in youth football, your job as a coach is, yes, you have that 4-month window where you're constantly coaching, but even during the 8 months when you're not, you're still thinking about being a coach. You're still the coach of that team, and you still have responsibilities to the parents on that team to, tell them about different camps that are going on in the area. And, I mean, it's not nearly as hard for me because as a coach in youth football, because we don't have the off-season programs that you guys do. You guys are so involved. Area high schools are so involved in these kids' lives, and they have to. It's a balance. It's a delicate balance because there's rules, there's regulations. You can't have contact. You can't do this. You can't do that. So you have to toe this fine line, still get your guys ready and developed, but also understand that, you have to give them their free time because it's summertime and the regulations say that you can only have them for a certain amount of time. So it creates problems, but at the same time, I just feel like your job never ends. As a coach, it's just nonstop all year round.
No. Yeah, it never ends. And then one of the cool things about Judd also is he not that he makes us, but he's like, we need to show faces at the basketball games, the baseball games, the track events. He's like, we need to, not just because of the football players, but to show all those kids that don't play football, they're always at the Friday night games.
That's right.
Everybody's at the Friday. So we need to go support them, whether it's on a Wednesday night, a Tuesday night. We need to go support Tiffin Columbian Athletics.
That's right.
So it never stops. It's a grind.
That's cool. So once again, thanks for coming on, Coach. We appreciate your time. Let's go on with the episode. So I had a couple things I wanted to talk about. First, we'll start with the weather because, I mean, it looks like right now it's going to be a gorgeous day. If you look outside and you look at the sky, you're like, man, it's going to be another beautiful day. Well, folks, I got some news for you. You could have some rain coming later today, so keep an eye out for that. Thunderstorms likely around 1 to 2 o'clock and then possibly for a few hours during that time period. So if you've got anything planned today, weather might be a factor. So make sure you take that into consideration. But it will get up to 85 today. So
nice.
All things considered.
Not as hot as yesterday.
Not bad. Yeah. And hopefully that rain will cool it down a little bit as far as the humidity. Because, man, it was ridiculous yesterday. So I did take a look at the Destination Seneca County community calendar, and there's really not a whole lot going on. Greg, we did see a couple things. Like I think there's a what was the one thing I saw on there? I can't remember. There's a couple things that are going on. If you want to know what's going on, head to the Destination Seneca County community calendar. It wasn't really anything that I thought we should bring attention to.
It's Wednesday. It's not the most productive day of the week.
It's a Wednesday. It's hump day. Guess what day it is?
Hump day.
Hump day. All right. So once again, nothing really going on in the community calendar, but let's take a look at the Advertiser Tribune. So if I'm looking at the headlines for the Advertiser, there's one really that kind of jumps out at me right away, and that is, well, the splash pad is open. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
The splash pad's open for your enjoyment, folks. So as you're trying to beat the heat and coming up new ways, figuring out ways to position the fan so you get the airflow through the whole house, I'm telling you, take the kids, round them up, go down to the splash pad, have a good time. It's on from, I think, noon until 9 or 9 to 9. I check the hours to be specific, but I know that it's on until 9 o'clock at night. So what's
All
your
day.
excuse?
Yeah.
That's free. Yeah, you can take the kids to the pool. It's a great time. You can take the kids down to the Y if you have a membership, but this doesn't require money, membership, anything. Just go down there, have a good time. The kids will have a blast. You can sit down and watch them have a blast, do whatever you want, enjoy yourself. It's a beautiful facility.
It's so nice.
The East Green area, I mean, we can't say enough about that and the Calnows and what they brought to the community. It's
classy.
So it's just a beautiful little venue, and it's a great place to bring the kids. So go on down and enjoy the splash pad now that it's open at National Corner here in Tiffin. Downtown Tiffin is the place to be this year, especially with us being in downtown now. So
Yeah. Right downtown.
as I look at the paper, though, I'm looking around, and there's not really much on the front page, but there was a couple things that kind of caught my eye on the sports page. Number one, man, that picture, that Calvert comeback picture.
Yeah.
Those kids going nuts after they get that game-winning run. I mean, you want to talk about jubilation?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
The joy on these kids' faces, that's a great picture. Whoever took, I think that was Zach Baker who took that picture. He was there for that game, I'm pretty sure. Was it not, Zach, for the Calvert game?
I believe so, yeah. I think
Yeah.
I was there for that day.
Yeah,
Oh,
Zach
no,
was there.
It says photo by Steve Williams, so.
Okay, so it
have
was
been a
not
photo
Zach's
from somebody
picture,
else.
but either way, what a great picture.
Oh, it's awesome.
What a great comeback for Tiffin Calvert. And here they are in the Sweet 16 with a chance to make it even further, and we'll be on the call for that game. That's right, folks. The announcement has been made. We posted it on our Facebook yesterday. It's posted. It's live. The cat's out of the bag. We'll be there this Thursday to cover Tiffin Calvert at Gilmore Academy. That's 2 o'clock first pitch, so make sure you tune in right around 1:50 for the pregame show right here on Heart of Ohio Sports. It's going to be a long trip for us. We're looking forward to it, though. It's going to be a blast. It's a beautiful facility. I did confirm that was the facility that the Odell Beckham Jr. camp was at last year. I've already been there. I went there, took my son to the camp last year, and got a chance to see the facility. And I'm telling you, this is like, you want to talk about a private academy. This
Yeah.
is like a legit academy.
It's freaking awesome.
I mean, this is what they talk about when they talk about those snob schools, those rich schools. Man, I mean,
Isn't that the field that Tommy sent us a picture of?
yes.
And my God, it looked amazing.
The infield and the outfield, all turf.
yeah, it's all turf. No
That's
dirt.
just ridiculous. That means they got some money.
Yeah.
But either way, gorgeous facility at Gilmore Academy. Join us on the call. If you can't make the trip, I know that's a long trip for a lot of these Calvert faithful to make. It's a 2-hour trip.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why we wanted to make this trip is because, we think Bowling Green's drivable for Tiffin Columbian families, right? That's a drivable distance, and they need your support. They're playing the number 1 team in Division II this Thursday. So, folks, they really need you to pack the cars, take the kids, take the family, and go over to Bowling Green and check that game out in person because they need all the Columbian faithful there they can get. So make sure you make that trip over. But for those of you Calvert fans
I got a
that are thinking
picture.
to yourself,
I got a picture pulled up here, Figgy Field, for everybody to see this place.
So
It's
for
ridiculous.
those of you Calvert fans that don't want to make that 2-hour trip, we're making it for you. So tune in right here on Heart of Ohio Sports this Thursday. That's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
Oh, my God.
This week's going by fast.
Really? I'm like, wow, it's Wednesday already. All right, well, June 1st. It's hard to believe we've been in here for a week and a half now.
Doesn't even feel like it.
It really does. And then Judd's like, man, you guys are doing this really quick. I'm like, yeah, actually we are. It's coming together pretty quick.
It's like when you think about it, it's like, oh, yeah, we really has been, huh?
It's been a process, but we're doing what we can, and I think we're doing a pretty damn good job so far.
Yeah, it's fun.
So once again, tune in with us this Thursday, tomorrow, 2 o'clock, first pitch here on Heart of Ohio Sports. Tiffin Calvert versus Bristol. Bristol. Is that the Panthers, Greg? Did I get that right when I guessed earlier? Because I was looking at the poster, and I see the logo down on the bottom, and I'm like, it looks like a panther. So I'm going to say Bristol Panthers.
I believe that's what it is.
We'll see.
Look
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm
Yep,
guessing.
no, you're right. It's the Panthers.
Oh, shoot from the hip. I got it. All right, so.
I was going to say, did you see that there is a nice little write-up here by Matt and I covering both teams being
Yes.
Tiffin being represented here?
That was one thing that I wanted to tell the audience about. You should pick up a copy of the Advertiser today.
Get a nice little preview before.
If you're a sports fan and you are a fan of either one of these Tiffin teams that are in the playoffs right now, pick up a copy of the Advertiser. Read this article written by Matt and I. It's phenomenal. He does a great job representing both teams and showing how they represent well at regionals this year. I mean, Matt does a great job at the Advertiser. Always has. One of my favorite writers at the Advertiser. And this is one of his best articles, folks. He did a great job really digging deep for some of these facts and some of this stuff. So check it out. If you don't get the Advertiser, stop at your local wherever, gas station, local store. It's pretty much everywhere in Tiffin. Pick up a copy of the Advertiser. Check it out for yourself. Read that article by Matt and I. It's a fabulous article. And while you're there, on that front page of the sports page, check out another article written by Scott Katos. I hope I got that last name right.
So.
Cottos. So Micah Hyde's football camp returns back to Fostoria. That is this Saturday. Right, Greg?
That's right.
Saturday. This is for grades 3rd grade through 6th grade, and it's for all students or anybody in the area. Really, anybody. You don't even have to be in the area. I remember last time we went to this event, there were kids that were coming from Buffalo to be a part of this camp because they obviously are Buffalo Bills
Huge
fans.
Micah Hyde fans.
But there were also people from Green Bay who came because they were Packer fans. Yeah. They liked him as a Packer, so they came to watch him. And then there were people from Iowa who were Iowa Hawkeye fans who watched him as a Hawkeye that wanted to.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's just, the guy has an impact wherever he goes. His celebrity softball game that he does every year.
I was about to bring that up. Did you see what he did this past year for it? After that, obviously what happened in Buffalo was tragic, but his softball game was right after that.
Donated all the proceeds to it.
I think it was over like $100,000 to it.
Well, and that's Buffalo, man.
Yeah.
Buffalo, the community in Buffalo does a great job, no matter what it is. They are charitable, and they contribute to a lot of different causes. And that's one thing that, you can talk whatever you want about the Bills, but that's a great fan base.
Dude, if
best
I wasn't
fan
a Browns
bases in
fan,
the NFL.
I would. It would be hard not to be a Buffalo Bills fan.
Bills Mafia.
Yep.
Dude, that would be
They're right
so
up our
much
alley.
fun.
I mean,
those like tiger blue and red pants and just jumping through tables.
Oh, yes. That sounds like,
and then
that
eating
sounds
all
like it
the,
needs to happen anyways.
eating all the chicken wings you possibly can because you're from Buffalo.
Well, you talk about how much people like Micah Hyde and stuff, and then we talk about the reverse of that, how much Micah Hyde cares about the kids. Did you know how they did things a little bit different this year, Nate?
How's that?
They made you put in a card. Now, they still didn't charge you for the camp, but they had you put in a card so that way they didn't have all these people who might not show up taking up the spots for the kids that really wanted to be there.
Well, last year, I remember specifically, there are, so between 3rd and 4th grade, they allowed 250 participants. And then between 5th and 6th grade, they allowed 250 participants. Last year, there were 180 3rd and 4th graders and just barely 200 5th and 6th graders.
Yeah, that's the problem they were running into.
Almost 120 kids who didn't come to the event.
Yep, and they took up those spots, but they didn't end up showing up. So this year, they're like, hey, you got to put a card in. We won't charge you unless you don't show up.
If you don't show up, you're getting charged $25.
Yeah, and so I thought that was a great idea, man.
It really is.
It's a great way to keep those spots open instead of those kids who I'll just get on and take up a spot, and who knows if I'll actually go or not. So
Exactly, and that's kind of how I felt about it.
this is Bentley's first year. I got him into a spot. So
That's Bentley's first year. What?
I've got him into a spot this year. This is the first
Really?
time. Yep, his 6th grade year. We're finally going.
So Isaac went his 4th grade year. They didn't have it his 5th grade year, and then he went for his 6th grade year to the Micah Hyde camp. Now, between those years, I said they didn't have it the 1 year. Now, you think Micah Hyde, big football player, sees a lot of people. He deals with a lot of people on a daily basis. It's easy for him to probably forget faces and names and all that. Isaac shows up for that second camp, and he made a little bit of a connection the first time. He stuck around. He waited. He got pictures with him. He got an autograph. He waited. He wanted Micah to know him. Yeah. All right. Well, this last camp, Isaac shows up for this camp, and he's telling me about how he made that connection with Micah. And I'm telling him, all right, buddy, well, just remember, don't be upset if he doesn't remember you. He knows a lot of people. He talks to a lot of people on a daily basis. Would you believe he remembered his name?
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
He said, I remember you, Isaac, right? And you would see, the way his face lit up.
Yeah.
And then from that day forward, he's like, Micah's my friend.
Yeah.
Micah's friends,
Soft flex.
So, I'm just saying, you would
know.
not believe what it does for these kids' confidence to have somebody like that in this community giving back as much as he does. So I can't say enough about Micah and the great things he does for the community and for the youth football in this area. As far as I know, there's going to be a Fostoria youth football team this year sponsored by Micah Hyde that'll be taking part in Tiffin youth football. So,
it's our 5th team.
It's going to be a fun time this Saturday. If you have a kid in that event, I highly encourage you bring some stuff to keep you busy, because it takes a little bit of time. It's a couple hours worth of camp. I've done it as a parent, and the first time I did it, I was completely unprepared. I just showed up with my phone and whatever, and by the end of it, I was completely sunburnt. And because you're just sitting in the stands for 3 hours watching your kid running through all these drills, and they go to one side, you can't even see them, and so you're going to be sitting there a while. So if you have a kid in this event, make sure you take some stuff. Make sure you take some juices, a couple Gatorades, some snacks or
sunscreen.
Something to keep. Yeah, sunscreen for sure.
And
unless you're like Joey, you like that peanut butter gold.
Dude, I don't use sunscreen.
Also, don't
conspiracy.
I was gonna say, also don't forget, guys, it's a $5 admission for any spectators.
So if you have a kid in the camp, don't forget, you do not get in for free. The kid gets in for free. You have to pay $5. That helps to provide this camp for free. Without that $5, it would be almost impossible to get all of these kids into these camps for free.
And the quality of the camp, and
what he does for this camp, it's phenomenal. Every year, these kids get a free pair of Nike shorts, legit.
Yeah.
They get a free T-shirt. They get a mouth guard that's fitted on site. They get all this. They get an autographed picture of Micah Hyde. They get a bag full of stuff and one of those cinch bags that carries everything with. They get everything that they need for the event and then some, and it's all for free.
That's nuts.
So, for that event, for you to pay $5 to get in, I don't know anybody that would complain about that. No. Really. And if you are, you need to find something else to complain about. It's a great event. Stop out this Saturday. Even if you don't have a kid in the event, check it out. Pay the $5. Go see an NFL professional football player right in front of you who's interacting with the kids and the community.
And also one of the best players in the league and at his position.
Oh, for sure. He's probably one of the top 2 safeties in the league.
He was 2nd team All-Pro last year.
Absolutely. And so with him and Jordan Poyer, they're 2 of the best safeties. That's the best safety duo in the league. I tried to say duo and tandem at the same time, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Tandem.
So anyways, let's move on. We touched with the Advertiser. Once again, Micah Hyde's camp this Saturday. It's at noon, right, Greg?
Yes, I believe so.
Noon is when it kicks off. They always have food vendors and all kinds of different stuff there. I'm pretty sure Tiffin Youth Football will be there, set up a little tent and talk about what they do. So check it out, folks. Stop over there and check out the Micah Hyde camp this Saturday. Other than that, the only other thing I had some weird news that I pulled up here. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but I do want to touch on something here, folks. I want to get more interactive with you. So if you're watching this, I want you to comment on this video. I want you to tell me what you want to see on this show. Do you want to see more interviews? Or do you want to see more of us interacting with each other? Do you want to have us interact with the audience? Do you want us to do some call-ins or maybe some Zoom-in calls with fans? Like, say there's a fan out there that wants to have a Zoom call with us in the morning, wants to come on. Of course, we're going to have to screen it to make sure you're not going to be on here dropping a bunch of
Yeah.
a bunch of bombs. But at the same time, if you want to come on, we're trying to make that happen. We're trying to make it so that we can have call-ins, so that we can have people call in. We can take calls on the show live. But what I want to know is, what do you want to see? What do you want from us? I've got some ideas. I want to do themed days. So each day of the week has a theme. So like today's Wednesday. Maybe we do like What's Happening Wednesday or something, you know, like along those lines of, you know, maybe we don't do the community calendar and the events every day. We just do it one day a week. Because I've noticed that some days are a little bit more eventful than others.
Yeah.
And maybe we just have that one day where we talk about everything that's going on for the next week. That might work a little better. Maybe Thursdays are like Thirsty Thursdays, and we talk about, you know, our key beverage of whatever. I don't know. I'm spitballing here.
Right.
Completely spitballing.
seeing
Free
us-
Food Friday sounds like a good one.
That sounds great.
Any local establishment that wants to bring us some free food on Friday?
Oh, yeah.
Specifically Nate's shirt.
Hey, I mean, I'm just saying, you know?
No, I'm kidding. They do enough.
Chase is
I'm
like,
just
how much
saying.
free food am I supposed to give to you guys?
Right. Chase is probably like, come on now. Come on now. How much am I going to give?
Going bankrupt because of you guys.
But no, I want to hear from you folks. I want to know what you want to see on the program, because we're getting this thing started. We're getting this thing going, but we're kind of figuring it out as we go. And to that, I want to extend the invitation to you to come up with some ideas for us. What do you want to see on the show?
Yeah.
Because this is an open format. I also have thought about possibly moving the start time up a little bit to help with some of these interviews, because I know it's 8:30 is a really early time for some people.
You don't pay me enough for that, Nate.
But like 9 o'clock might be a little bit better for some people. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about is, what do you think? Do you think 8:30 works, or do you think maybe we should push it up to the 9 o'clock hour, maybe 9 to 10? That to me is going to be a little harder, because then I'm literally going to have to cut it off a little early because I got to be at work at 10:30. So So it's just, there's challenges that we got to figure out along the way, but I need your help. I need you to tell me what you want from us. So
And it's only going to make the show better,
That's
too.
exactly right.
The more we can cater it to you guys, is only going to make the show better and more enjoyable for you. And frankly, it makes it easier on us, too.
For sure.
Rather than just having to, like, go in blindly. We kind of have an idea of what the people want, what they don't want, and we can kind of base it off that, too. So.
yes, that's the idea. We want to give you the content that you want to consume.
Right.
And it's not just for the likes and the views either, folks. Like, I really want to put out content that I would want to watch.
Well, I was going to say to that, too, Nate, it's, you know, anybody can watch these videos at any time of the day, but it's about the interaction. What time frame is best for you guys to interact with us? That's what we want, is the interaction.
That's a great point, Greg. What's the best time for you to want to interact with the show? Comments, likes, and shares drive our news feed. If you interact with something with a like, a comment, or a share, that's going to show up in your news feed more often. So that's why we encourage you, if you're watching the video, please share the video, please like the video, and please interact with it. Comment. Comments are huge for us. It helps us drive the engine, and it also gives us some ammunition to take into our sales meetings when we talk to different sponsors. Say here, this is what we see on a daily basis. These are the fans that are interacting with our page. So it helps us to bring more content to you, and quality content is really what it's about. That's what we're trying to provide, is quality content. So, but let's wrap things up here. I do have a couple things to go talk about before we get done here this morning. Once again, share the video if you're watching. Share and subscribe on YouTube. Weird news. Of course, we turned to Reddit for weird news. There was only a couple of them that really caught my eye. But one of them, I mean, this one was, I don't know. It's not really weird. It's just, it's crazy to me that, all right, so a missing pet tortoise was found in an attic 30 years later, and it was still alive.
Is there a dead body it's been eating?
I'm like, how is this even possible? So in 1982, they lost their tortoise. Sorry, tortoise, not turtle, tortoise. So they talked about this tortoise when this girl was a kid, and nobody really believed her because it didn't exist. Nobody had ever seen it before.
Yeah.
So 30 years later, 2013, her grandmother passes away, and her family gathered at her mom's home to sort through some of the possessions. Now, her grandfather left behind a pretty cluttered attic. As the room was cleared and some things started moving around, someone noticed something odd. There in the box of an old wooden speaker was a tortoise whom they recognized. It says, we were shocked. My mom started crying because she couldn't believe it. They found Manuela.
Manuela?
That's the name of the tortoise.
Manuela the tortoise.
It says, incredibly, the tortoise had somehow managed to survive 3 decades trapped inside the storage space. It says she subsisted, her family suspects, by eating termite larvae in the overfilled room.
Oh.
Oh, man.
That's a lot of larvae.
That had to be,
30 years worth.
30 years worth of termites? That house is probably like...
Yeah, that's maybe that's not the best news if you're gonna sell the house. Don't want that getting out.
Maybe that's why it hasn't fallen apart yet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it hasn't sold yet. No.
Actually, the tortoise might be saving the house.
For real.
Right.
Eating all the termites.
Right.
I got this taken care of, guys. Don't worry about
Hey, if you have a termite problem, now you know your solution. Don't call an exterminator. Just buy a tortoise.
it. Just lose a
Leave the tortoise in your
tortoise.
attic for 30 years. But they couldn't have had water or anything like that.
So it says nearly 10 years after being found and 40 years after going missing, Manuela's never been better. That's right. He's a boy tortoise. They now identified him, so he goes by Manuel instead of Manuela.
Oh.
But yeah, he's doing great. He's grown a lot. And yeah, I just thought that was pretty interesting. How does a tortoise live for 30 years without any interaction? Well, especially in an attic. Like if it was out in the wild, whatever, that happens. But like in an attic,
That's what I'm saying. How does it get water? Wouldn't water just survive unless they got holes in the roof?
well, and not only that, but I mean, think about how hot it gets in an attic.
Yeah.
Do tortoises live in hot environments? Like, do they live in deserts? Because that's like, I mean,
think
you
so.
talk about some of them attics get up to 110, 120
I would
degrees.
think so.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Tortoises are from like the desert, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They can handle that
So, yeah,
stuff
they
more
can
than
probably do
turtles,
that.
That's just crazy.
Do they not hear it though?
Because I always think like tortoise needs water, but it's not. That's not.
Oh, it
Tortoises
doesn't need
don't
water?
need water. Well, they don't need to be near water. They
Oh.
obviously probably need to drink water or
Yeah,
get
that's
water
what
in
I'm
their
thinking.
body,
Where
but,
do they
like,
get water from? Hole in the roof.
the termite larvae.
Must have been super moist.
They were pretty juicy.
Yeah. Gotta
Moist.
Cleanse the
I
palate.
know somebody just got a cringe when he said that word. Somebody went, ooh. I know a couple people that are like, don't say that word around me, please. It just creeps me out. What, moist?
Like the cake.
All right, last weird news story here, and then we'll wrap things up. This one's pretty interesting. Did NASA find hell? Scientists brace for first glimpse of world that constantly burns. That's right. They found conditions on a super Earth 50 light years away. And the first look is expected here in a few weeks. Okay. So this is thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope. And NASA right now is bracing themselves to see the stuff of nightmares. The planet is called 55 Cancri E. I don't even know how to say that.
That's weird.
It orbits so close to its sun-like star that the surface conditions could literally be like the hell of biblical description, a dimension in a constant state of burning. So you've heard of multiverse and dimensions and all that. What if hell is just a dimension and that's where you go? You just go to a planet.
I mean, that'd be interesting. I feel like it's just like, I feel like that place is probably just like the sun, but like you can see the solid surface.
I'm just like, man, it's just a really hot planet.
Yeah, it's just a
it's
planet
a
really
headline.
close to the sun.
They're just trying to find headlines and just,
Got us.
did they find hell? Well, that was not really a great story. So
That's
it's
crazy.
just a really hot planet. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's sometimes when you look at these.
I think we got a picture over here. Oh wait.
What's that?
Nope. Never mind.
Nope, no video. Nope, no nothing.
That's just a little
and
joke there.
Yesterday we got flagged for a video because we shared a video within our stream.
Yeah.
And then it flagged us saying, "Oh, this company wants to have ownership over that video, so they want to put their name with your video." And I'm like, they don't own that video. They just bought it from somebody
Yeah.
on the internet. Like, I don't get the process with that.
You gotta love the
sometimes.
Facebook algorithms
I know.
that find that stuff. It's like, how did you guys find anything like that in our video?
Anyways, all right, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for us today. Any final thoughts? I mean, we got baseball tomorrow. We got another episode of Mullin It Over tomorrow morning. Couple special guests joining us as tonight in studio, I'll have Matt Coleman in studio to record an interview that'll be played tomorrow morning live during Mullin It Over. Also, during the show tomorrow live in studio, we'll have Heidelberg head football coach Scott Donaldson. So
Heck yeah.
it's going to be busy and an eventful morning tomorrow morning for us here at Heart of Ohio Sports. A couple of coaches' interviews. We're really looking forward to it.
We've had a coach on every day this week.
That's right. We're busy.
Crazy. It's
We're
awesome.
keeping it busy. I love it. Honestly, this is
That's
great. I love doing this. I want to keep it going. What I really like is the player interviews. I really like getting these players on and having them, interview and tell their side of the story, because I feel like I've done a lot over the course of my career. I've covered a lot of coaches. I've talked to a lot of coaches, athletic directors, and you always seem to get like the buttoned up answers and that's great. That's coach speak. But when you get these players in here and then they start telling you about stuff like, oh, they were saying FTC and they were doing this. And
you hear the stuff you don't
start
know.
to hear the stuff that you don't hear normally. That's what I like. And I think that's what the fans like too. So honestly, we're really looking forward to having coaches on tomorrow. But if you have a player and you'd like to get him some spotlight, or if you know of a player that deserves some spotlight, send us an email, send us a message, shoot us a comment in the comment section. Tell us who you want us to have on the morning show, because we've tried to book a couple of guests already this week.
I was going to say, if you are a player and you want to be on the show, go ahead and send us a message.
Yeah, huge. So if you're a player, you want to be on the show, come on, join us here on Heart of Ohio Sports. Last night, took the family out to X-Ray. Got some Mexican food last night for
Delicious.
dinner. And Emma White was actually our waitress
Oh,
last
really?
night, server at X-Ray.
Going to state,
yeah.
track and field.
Pretty cool. Nice. So, we were really excited to be there and experience everything. Obviously, it's a great environment, but to be able to have the local students working at these different establishments, it's pretty cool because you get, like I said, different side of them that you wouldn't normally see. But I think it's just pretty cool that she was talking about how much Garrett and Hunter and Nick were just excited to be on, and they were, kind of glowing about it. She said, the first thing she said, I watch your podcast. And I was like,
That's literally the best thing anybody could
I'm
say.
serious, man. It's so cool. It's awesome to hear it. So if you see us and if you're shy, I get it. But if you see us and you want to say, hey, I like what you're doing, please do that.
Yeah.
It feels great every time someone says it. So please.
Lets us know we're doing something right,
Absolutely. And if we're doing something wrong, please tell us. We want to fix these things.
Yeah, we
I don't
have
doing
thick skin. We
things
can
wrong.
take it.
Absolutely. I love constructive criticism. So once again, thanks for tuning in here on Mullin It Over, episode 48. Thanks to Tiffin Calvert head football coach Judd Lutz for coming on with us this morning. Thanks to Greg Kinn, our producer extraordinaire, for keeping us on the air. And, of course, thanks to Joey for coming on with me again this morning.
Thanks,
Appreciate
bro.
your time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks to all of you for tuning in here on Mullin It Over on Heart of Ohio Sports. Make sure you tune in tomorrow as we'll have special guest Scott Donaldson in studio and a recorded interview with Tiffin Calvert head coach Matt Coleman. That's all coming to you live tomorrow morning here on Mullin It Over. But for now, we'll say see you later. Have a great day, everybody.